frustrate them and make them play over the top.
It'll be Duke who gets the first touch on this Sunday afternoon. Just a beautiful day. High 60s, a light breeze, perfect conditions, and off we go from Durham. Duke's seeking a signature win today to help pad that NCAA resume. Meanwhile, Florida State, you see the Seminoles really pressuring here early. That line of confrontation very high for the Seminoles.
And you wonder what the trigger is, because they're not going to press in your face for an entire 90. So maybe they're just coming out to make a statement. There'll be certain triggers, maybe certain areas where they want to press. We talked to earlier, and Florida State's semi-comfortable with Duke having the ball in non-dangerous areas.
Hey, it was interesting talking with Coach Penske. He said, I don't like it when we don't have the ball. He gets a little antsy, and Duke making a run here early. Is Minestrella making her second career start to the top of the 18 and sends one a little high. So Duke with an early maybe half chance there results in a goal kick, but you see the Blue Devils making a little bit of an early push.
And Minestrella needs to take that early shot, because if the Florida State defense doesn't believe that she is capable of pulling the trigger, there's no need to suffocate her. And if they don't suffocate her, then they're guarding those passing lanes, so she has to be willing and able to take those shots.
This is a Florida State team that, as good as they've been on offense with 41 goals scored this year, they've been equally as good defensively, only 12 goals allowed for the Seminoles. Now the Blue Devils trying to push it here. FSU unable to get it out of harm's way, and results in the throw-in for the Blue Devils. You know, you look at what Florida State has done in ACC play. They've allowed just one goal really against the run of play over the last 5 games, and have been very stingy defensively over the last 5 games in ACC play.
They have, and they're a wicked second-half team. They're good in the first half, really good. I'd say top 5 in the country good, maybe number 1 in the country good. But in the second half, they're just on another level. They've allowed 4 second-half goals this season. They've scored 31 second-half goals this season. That's a bonkers number.
Which is interesting, because in the last 4 games, all of Duke's goals have come in the second half, so maybe strength against strength here as it relates to the second half. A bit of a push there as that one back to Freeman, and she ushers it aside without any major danger there.
And I think where you'll see Duke struggling the most is when they, in Florida State, and those brilliant attackers get into that back 4 that hasn't had a lot of time together. They've had, what, 3 minutes now together?
And this continues to be a Duke team that is still battling that injury bug and some illnesses, just trying to get healthy. Now Florida State, nobody home there on that direct pass through, but the Seminoles will build the possession again from the midfield area.
Duke can't get pinned back by this Florida State team, and that's so much easier said than done. But when you steal the ball away, you need to make that connecting pass to hold that possession.
That's been an issue at times for the Blue Devils this year, being able to make those connected passes. Through the middle here. Lynch has to play it back, and now Duke tries to connect something. Here's Goldthwait. We mentioned the goal against Virginia Tech. She draws the foul. Take another look here.
It's the good body positioning. Not a lot in it, but enough for the foul.
Echegini getting a quick chat from the referee there.
It's the extension of the arm.
Sure.
Whether or not you pushed, if the official sees the arm come out, same in basketball, same in any sport, really. I mean, that's an insta whistle.
50-50 ball. That's going to be important for Duke today, too, to win those 50-50 balls, especially those 50-50 balls in the midfield area. And Robbie Church talked about it. Boy, another physical takedown there, another foul in Florida State. Robbie Church talked about how important it was to win those balls against this stingy Florida State team.
And you have to, because it's those second balls where Florida State comes onto them, and now they've got eyes forward, and your defense is not in the right positions, and all of a sudden, Florida State can make you look like a very silly team very quickly.
Now Duke on the flank. Ball is batted away. And it'll be an opportunity for Duke here. The first set-piece opportunity for the Blue Devils. Their 55th corner kick of the year. And the 2 goals that Florida State gave up against Pittsburgh last time out, Matt, came off of set-piece opportunities.
It's an area of opportunity for the Florida State defense, and there aren't a lot of those.
Good service in and punched away. Settled for a moment. And that one flicked high. Blue Devils had a look there from Minestrella, but was not able to capitalize. And there's the first opportunity going by the wayside for Duke.
And nearly onto the end of the ball, a jumping header roller doesn't miss it by much. This is such a difficult technique. The ball is behind you. You're trying to get over the top of it. It's a 1 in 10 if you're lucky.
And Roque, the senior keeper, 16 saves this year, 6 clean sheets for Florida State. Brad Pensky talked about just how dynamic Roque is, a calm presence about her. Said that his keeper, she has ice in her veins.
What I like about that shot from Minestrella is that even if you miss, you get a chance to reset your defense.
Foul there against the Blue Devils.
And if you hit it, it's spectacular.
Yes, indeed. Leonie Nesbitt. There's Minestrella making her 2nd career start today for the Blue Devils. What is also senior day for Duke. Blue Devils honoring some of their great seniors that have meant so much to this program. Unfortunately, 3 seniors unable to play today due to injury or illness. But a senior class that has helped lead this program to 3 consecutive trips to the Final 8. Through the middle now. Laguerre. Now for Lynch. Good service in. Battling for it there in the box. Unable to come away with it cleanly. And now Florida State the other way.
EY did just enough. That was some last-ditch defending, but it's done well by the Seminoles.
Now Florida State. Maybe a bit of a chance here. Looking for an angle. Played in for Huff. Settled, and a blast goes high. Echegini had a look at it.
Really quickly onto the ball and got into a shooting formation rapidly. Dangerous moment for Duke when Coach Church was talking about winning that second ball. This is what happens when you don't. Headed down, the second ball. Echegini reads it. Ooh, that was nearly disastrous for Duke, wasn't it?
All she needs is just a slither to be able to put that home.
Her technical ability pretty much gives her space wherever she wants it.
Certainly helps when you're Florida State and you have a World Cup player on your roster, as the Seminoles do at Echegini. Now, that deflected. Huff, who's tied for the team lead with 9 goals this year, plays one through. Brewster ushers it aside. And Duke finally able to get it out of harm's way.
Nearly disastrous for Florida State.
A dangerous ball there, certainly, for the Seminoles. Duke's had the only set-piece opportunity so far today. Still searching for our first shot on goal for either team.
When Florida State's in possession, it's almost a 4-2-4 for Duke right now, and I'm interested. I didn't see necessarily this formation. Now, as they come across the midfield line, I'd anticipate you'd see one certainly drop in the middle, and maybe you'll see Minestrella drop on the right side.
Through the middle now. Lynch, and quickly taken away by Florida State. And now look at the Seminoles here. This is Groff, just trying to get it out of that harm's way. Florida State will have the throw in here. And the Seminoles really pressuring Duke's defense at the moment.
Beta Olsen is a player to watch, not really as heralded as some of the other 3 big or 4 big, if you count, and I do, Jody Brown, the attacking midfielder for the Seminoles. But she finds space. She makes things difficult. She's a pest and brilliant in space.
Again, out of harm's way. This way it comes. Van Zatten plays one for Jordan Dudley. Flicked down.
Roller stepping in front of that shot. It's not fun work. That one's going to sting, but it's necessary work.
Huff, who leads the team with 8 assists. Maybe looking for another one here. Freeman off her line. Dangerous here. Florida State able to win the possession for a moment. this relentless Florida State attack. Service in, headed to Freeman, who makes easy work of that. And how about the brave play by Freeman here for Duke?
Just holding up enough. Goldthwait doing the job. Just holding up long enough for help to come.
Robbie Church spoke glowingly about Leah Freeman, the transfer from Oregon as his goalkeeper. Talked about the growth that she has made this year. Freeman with 39 saves for Duke as play begins this Sunday afternoon.
She's spectacular. She's getting better. Every game she's improving. And you're seeing a player who's not quite at the finished product yet, but does everything very, very well. And the thing she does the best, in my opinion, is she moves with confidence. When she's off the line, it's decisive. When she stays on the line, it's decisive. I've never seen her get caught in an in-between.
Robbie Church said in our conversation prior to the match, if Duke's going to be victorious today, they're going to need Freeman to step up and maybe make a save or two on a ball that could be a goal. Had a brave play a moment ago, coming out to make the play and keeping Florida State off the board. Menestrella now for Duke. Some space to operate here. And a little bit of a miss hit there from Goldthwait. She'll want that one back.
It was a good job by Duke getting the back down the pitch and to offer that option out wide. Goldthwait needs to wrap her foot, the right foot, around the outside of that ball, bring it back towards the penalty spot where the attackers should be coming.
Over 10 minutes into this first half now, kind of break down where we're at, what you're seeing. Which team do you feel like, if a team has the advantage, who is it?
Right now, Florida State looks the most dangerous, but Duke has probably had the better chance. I'd say the best two chances of the game fall to Duke. There was a dangerous moment in the box, but it just turned into a catching practice for Freeman. But you're seeing a patient Florida State team right now. They're holding the ball. They're thoughtful with their passes. Duke's made them turn the ball over in dangerous places a couple of times.
Like that one right there.
Eventually, Florida State's going to get fed up and they're going to go over the top.
Good play by Lynch to force the turnover. Now Menestrella with the throw-in for Duke.
Or they clean up the passing and try to play through Duke. Either way, I think it's going to make for some fantastic soccer.
Now it's Goldthwait who tosses it in. Nice step through there by Lynch. And she'll drive one, but another nice play by Roque. Another look at it for Duke, but Roque up to the challenge there.
Okay, the senior, she sees it the entire way. It's a nifty little left-footed, almost a knuckler, diving at the end. That's not an easy, do you let that bounce and try to smother it, or do you get under it before it hits the ground? Roque decisively takes it in the air.
Roque, first team All-ACC last year and the Atlantic Coast Conference Goalkeeper of the Year, making another push for those accolades this season. At one point during the ACC slate, Roque had recorded 3 consecutive clean sheets against Miami, Louisville, and Boston College, and has been playing phenomenal for Coach Penske's club this year. Long ball over the top, settled now. This is Dudley who had it, now flicked away nicely by a roller, and Duke the other way. Menestrella trying to connect that, but a turnover there in the midfield area. Dangerous spot of the field to turn it over if you're Duke. Although I don't know that there's a good spot to turn it over against this Florida State team.
I don't super love goal kicks, but I think that'd be my favorite spot to turn it over to Florida State. Just way yonder is the unit of measurement.
Goldthwait to Menestrella. And Duke unable to connect there as Florida State hits it over the touchline.
I think you see in Duke a belief and an understanding that Florida State is dangerous, especially on those turnovers, and you've seen such a high work rate in getting back on defense.
Duke wanted a foul there, didn't get the call. Now Brown through the middle. Away for Huff. And look at the speed of Huff. And that one rolls toward Freeman, who will play it easily.
If you're Freeman, you're good with that. That's the ideal finish to that play buildup.
Duke looking for their first win over a ranked opponent this year. 0-5-1, of course, the draw was against North Carolina when Anson Dorrance Club was ranked number 1. Big draw for the Blue Devils here at home at that point. Really preserved the hopes of a postseason berth, as did the win at Virginia Tech on Thursday, that 1-0 win. Robbie Church spoke about how big that was for the Blue Devils and really needing another win. They've got to have at least a 500 record to qualify for the postseason. Now the Blue Devils looking to qualify for their first goal. It's Cat Raider into the box and misses it high.
It's a tough skill. The ball's running away from you. You want to put your laces through it, but the danger is that you get under it and you lift it, and that's exactly what just happened. It's such an incisive pass. Perhaps a little bit out in front, cuts the angle a touch. Just a bit under it.
But if you're Robbie Church and the Blue Devils, are you pleased with the amount of quality chances you're getting so far?
I think if you were given this 15 minutes as a possibility, you'd take it instantly. This is a Duke team that looks confident through the first 15.
What about on the flip side for Florida State? What do you think Brian Pinsky's thinking on that Florida State bench area?
They make so many adjustments in game, and when we talked to Coach Pinsky, he said you never know with Duke what formation they're coming out into, so you're going to have to make minute adjustments.
Florida State, no, a nice pass in. Trying to track it down, Olsen. Now she'll look for some help.
So I think you'll see some adjustments from Florida State throughout this matchup. And if you're Florida State, unless you're trailing, you're fine, right?
Largest deficit was 2 goals for the Seminoles in ACC play. Good ball in. Freeman is there and brings it down. Good run by Dudley there, making a push for it, but Freeman up to the task again.
That's 5'11" Dudley. What a target in the box. It's a nice ball in, perhaps a little bit close. That's still brave keeping.
So Freeman's come up big a couple times for the Blue Devils in this first half. And now Duke with more space. Menestrella tried to work it back to Lynch. Maybe a bit too much weight on that pass as it works back to Freeman. Take a look elsewhere around the ACC on this Sunday afternoon. Wake Forest a 1-0 lead over Louisville in the first half. Of course, Duke will take on Louisville to close the regular season next week. Getting down to the nitty-gritty in this ACC race.
There are no days off in the Atlantic Coast Conference when it comes to women's soccer, are there?
And remember, Wake Forest right now in that 6th spot in the ACC standings. It's really a logjam there, 6 through 9 in the league, 1 or 2 points separating 6 through 9. And there could be teams, Matt, that do not qualify for the ACC tournament that could qualify for the NCAA tournament.
And I think that if Duke doesn't get into that top 6, that's their hope. And they're going to need at least a point today or 3 points in their last matchup.
Need to finish with a 500 overall record. Foul against Duke there in the midfield area. Need a 500 overall record to qualify for the NCAA tournament. Duke sitting at 6-5-3 right now. Of course, Florida State squarely in the postseason, both the ACC and the NCAA as the #1 team in the country. Looking to finish undefeated on the road for the first time since 2014. It would be just the 4th time in program history the Seminoles have done that. Look at Florida State's last 61 games, only 4 losses. You're going to talk about the model of consistency. I mean, it's just unbelievable what the Seminoles have been able to do. Of course, winning the national title in 2021 and losing in the title game a year ago.
I think DJ Khaled wrote a song about them.
Oh, they do nothing but win. A little bit too much weight there, not much that the Seminoles could do on that opportunity. So the goal kick coming for Freeman.
And Jody Brown's a little bit like me. If you have too much time over the ball, and certainly that was too much time over the ball, played it in restart within the first 30 seconds, you maybe overthink it a bit.
State pressuring here. 50-50 ball settled. And a foul against Florida State. Dangerous play there.
Initially, Watkins does great, brings it down, holds possession, but Florida State just marching her back towards her own goal.
Grace Watkins, one of those seniors being honored today.
She's a forward that's playing in the left midfield position just out of necessity today. The versatility of this Duke lineup is something spectacular, and I think that's something Coach Church should be extremely proud of.
Dangerous spot to give Florida State the ball back, and they're attacking third.
Oof, what a turn.
Great move. Bit of a double team there, and that one chipped on, and oh, just wide. A good look at it for Florida State, and the Seminoles will have their first set-piece opportunity.
Not 100% positive. I think Freeman gets a hand to this, at least a fingernail. Take another look. Oh, it's a deflection. It comes off the Duke defender. It was going wide, and then just takes a kiss off the arm of Groff. It's tucked in. It's never a handball. Your arms have to exist somewhere. She wasn't making herself artificially bigger.
Now Huff, who has 8 assists on the season. Maybe a bit of a miss-hit there from Huff. She gets it back. But the flag goes up. The offside there against Florida State.
Yeah, Huff didn't clear up the line, and Duke did a great job of clearing off the line once the ball came in low. They just kind of stole a possession, didn't they?
They did. That's what they need to do. Again, the name of the game for Duke today is going to be to have the possession. And as Coach Penske told us, he gets kind of antsy on that Florida State sideline whenever his team does not have the ball, particularly in that defensive third where the Blue Devils have been able to live a couple of times today.
It's funny. He said that some of his assistants were okay with it and were trying to convince him that it was okay in certain areas to not have the ball, and he says, I just don't get it. I don't like it, and I don't get it.
A lot can go wrong when you don't have the ball, right?
Absolutely. That's a nice close.
Now, Florida State.
Oof.
Oh, another great move there by Brown. Plays one out wide.
Oh.
Into the box. A slither of daylight, and Freeman again right there for Duke.
Freeman's positioning perfect. She steps in, takes away any angle. The blast comes right out of her in sure hands. That's an easy one to spill.
.50 ball there. Watkins trying to win it for Duke, unable to do so. Feathered ahead. Now Menestrella looking to make a run for Duke, doesn't have numbers. Onside here, Menestrella needing some help, and nobody making the run there for the Blue Devils.
It was a good ball and just a miscommunication, and I think you can mark that up to an offensive unit that, again, is by necessity patchwork. It's the injuries that have gotten to Duke, and I think some of the familiarity you have with your attacking partners and the runs that they like to make, but you're going to have to figure out a way around that.
Well, that's what Robbie Church said, that if this Duke team can find a way to make the NCAA tournament, they would get some time off, a chance to get healthy, and could be a very dangerous team come the postseason. Cat Raider, always dangerous. Nice play stepping through there by Van Zanten to usher it aside, but Duke will have the opportunity deep in their attacking third here.
It's another World Cup participant, Amy Van Zanten, out wide on the left for Florida State, comes in and makes the needed but necessary tackle against Raider. Just about everywhere you look as a World Cup player, isn't it?
Talent everywhere for sure. And that could be said of the entire ACC, just how deep this league is, top to bottom. There's Van Zanten, the rookie out of Illinois. Play for the Jamaican national team. Nice move there by Lynch. Now Lynch feathers one across. And another missed opportunity for Duke. Boy, a great run by Grace Watkins, but she couldn't drive it home.
That one's tough. It's bounding up left foot. It's about waist high. You think even if it's not got much on it, you've got to put it on frame.
Watkins knowing that she missed that one.
This is a Florida State team that doesn't give you a lot.
And there have been a couple of opportunities for Duke to take advantage of some Florida State miscues and have not so far been able to get one past Roque. And Estrella settled. And a foul just outside the 18. And a golden opportunity here for Duke coming on the set piece.
This is dangerous. It is maybe a yard outside the box, if that. It's a good pass in, trying to settle. Take another look.
And it's Lynch who goes down for the Blue Devils. Devin Lynch, the sophomore, who a bit slow to get up, and I think they're going to have to call maybe the trainer out. Maggie Graham is there, along with the rest of her Duke teammates. Certainly nothing malicious there, just a hard play, and you see Lynch up, and that's what Duke can ill afford is any more injuries, especially when the Blue Devils are a bit depleted because of injury and illness.
They've got two of their better midfielders playing left and right back right now.
And Lynch trying to walk it off.
Mia, push high. Mia, make sure you're onside. Push high, follow. Gracie, Gracie, come to this side. Gracie, go.
But Duke will have a great opportunity here. And you see Lynch, the deep breath, just trying to put some sort of weight on that lower body. Katie Groff over the ball. Now a drive from Raider is high. Another missed opportunity for the Blue Devils on that golden set piece.
Such a difficult range because you almost have to go around the wall. It's almost too close. You can't get the ball up and back down. You can try to bend it around, but again, there's not a whole lot of room to do that. It's an attractive area, but I would argue that it's almost deceptively, it's too close.
It's like when I'm playing golf, you know? Anything inside of 50 yards.
It's a gimme.
It's too close.
Oh, yeah.
Can't get a full wedge into it, you know?
I don't know how you play golf, but anything inside of 50 yards, if you can see your putter from there, that's a gimme.
That circle of friendship is big with you.
It really is.
Feathered ahead. Settled now nicely. This is Brown. Etchegini now. Right back to Brown.
Such a good run from Brown.
Maybe just a little too much weight on it.
And that's not far away from being another good chance for Florida State. This is a fun team to watch. It hasn't come together for him yet, but you can see the concepts, the ideas. That is a wicked pass. Etchegini's field vision, just to put that into that area and give Brown a chance at it, it's a wicked pass.
A couple of subs in for Florida State here. Sophia Wynn checks in. Alagoa also in for the Seminoles. Final 17.5 minutes of this opening half. Florida State now really pressuring, trying to force the turnover. A brave chance there. Duke will win the possession. I believe it was Flynn who got the worst end of that. Trying to walk it off. Raider pushed a bit there. We play on. Settled by Duke. Just see how relentless this Florida State team is.
Mm-hmm. And another World Cup participant off the bench, Portugal's Alagoa.
Must be nice to bring a World Cup caliber player off your bench.
When I said it was an embarrassment of riches and Florida State probably doesn't feel embarrassed about it, maybe that one a little bit. It's crazy how talented this squad is. but they make full use of it, and the style of play really fits the quality of player they have.
Roller. Plays it ahead for Goldthwaite. Took a bad bounce there on Lynch. Now Flynn through the middle. Leaves it for Gilchrist. Gilchrist, the member of the ACC all-freshman team a season ago, 20 in maroon for Florida State, who has possession now.
And it's almost a 4-2-4 in possession for Florida State right now.
That one off the body of Eli. Menestrella, who's been involved a couple of times for Duke today. That one back to Duke now. Really has become kind of a back and forth possession game here as of late. Now Dudley trying to get around to defender. What a move! Dudley leaves it off, and the Seminoles strike first. What a play by Florida State. The Seminoles driving it home. It's Zippe who gets her second of the year, and the Seminoles have the lead.
2020 all-freshman team, national championship on the 21 team. But let's be honest, this was all Dudley, wasn't it? Picking the pocket, 3-on-1 still. Dudley has 3 defenders to get by. That move was so sweet, you can only watch it after the
6th assist of the year for Dudley, who now has 24 points to lead the team, and what a great finish by Zippe, the redshirt junior out of Winter Springs, Florida. The 42nd goal of the year for this FSU team. Not much that Freeman could do there.
I think if you're Duke, you don't change much. I think you keep attacking.
Looking for the equalizer here, trying to get it to Rader. Duke still into the 18. There's a drive, and another one that goes high of Roque.
Just leaning a bit back, and when you're leaning a bit back, the tendency is always to get underneath it and lift it too much.
We see it just a little high there from Karina Laguerre. Florida State with a 1-0 lead. Now a bit of a turnover.
Nice.
Playing it now for Sonacheva, and an easy play for Roque. Duke's had 7 shots, only 1 of them on target so far today, but Duke has had ample opportunities. Had a couple of opportunities, Matt, that have been great for Duke that you feel like Duke could capitalize on, but have maybe just put a little bit too much underneath the ball.
It is a big moment. You wonder if maybe senior day, alumni day, you know, there's a lot of nerves that go into a top matchup like this.
Played out to the middle now. Duke looking to connect something. Final 13.5 minutes of this first half. Laguerre. Now this way for Lynch. They play it out wide for Sonacheva. Sonacheva with some fancy footwork, but unable to get past Florida State, and Duke wins the throw-in here.
EY is doing a fantastic job down the left side, specifically over the last 10 minutes, is really, really locked down on that side.
And another turnover. And look how quickly Florida State can go. It's Dudley again who had the assist on the Florida State goal a moment ago. Dudley through traffic. Dudley able to get enough on it. Dudley a little slow to get up there after that physical play. Seems to be holding her head, and we'll be given a moment As Florida State with a sub. Pace enter for the Seminoles as we take another look.
The acceleration is what's startling. You've seen several 5'11" players, right? And you kind of get what Coach Church was saying, where he says, you know, there's elements of Dudley's game that reminds him of Michelle Cooper. Mm-hmm. Yeah, big, amazing with the ball at your feet, rapid, and unselfish. I think you can add to that list with full within her rights to take that shot after she went through everybody on the defense.
Yeah, high praises from Duke head coach Robbie Church to Jordan Dudley. Her head coach, Brian Penske, totally different player now than she was opening weekend. And really talked about her Jekyll and Hyde nature, how she's kind of quiet and reserved off the field, but when she gets on the pitch, totally different player, especially, and we saw it there, when she gets close to the goal, she really goes after it.
Mm-hmm. Fearless is the word that comes to my mind. Just a fearless player. Strong, fast. You know what? I have a lot of adjectives for it now that we're thinking about
Absolutely. But anytime you're compared to a Michelle Cooper, certainly a talented player. That one right off of Dudley's boot. She gets it right back. Oof. Nice ball in. Pace. Oh, what a save by Freeman. That was a dangerous ball. Pace with an opportunity to give the Seminoles a 2-goal lead, but Freeman up to the challenge again.
Freeman did such a fantastic job immediately off the line, and the one thing you can do as a goalkeeper is get as big as you can. Freeman was not going to be beat on the ground. You're going to have to get the ball off the ground to beat her right there, and Pace couldn't do it. It was fantastic.
That's one of those that maybe Duke will look back on if they can get the equalizer here in the last 10 minutes of the half. Flicked ahead, and Roque off her line. Oh, a dangerous play there. And Roque will just usher it out of harm's way. Boy, look at the pressure there from Duke, nearly creating a moment of daylight to get that equalizing goal.
And if Watkins can bring this under control, it's problems for Roque, because Roque is closing out extremely hard.
Spun away. No foul. We play on. As Dudley went down, wanted the call, didn't get it. But now Florida State accelerating through the midfield. Under 10 minutes to go in this first half. If you're Robbie Church on the Duke side of things, do you like the way your team has played so far in this first half?
It was one mistake. It was one mistake and a phenomenal play by a phenomenal player. Otherwise, we're 0-0. And if we're finishing like we're capable of finishing, it's maybe 1-1, maybe 1-2. Maybe we're up by 1 if we're finishing these chances. I think if you looked at XG, and I don't know that some people believe in XG, some people don't. I think XG right now for Duke is probably 1.5 to 2.
Mm-hmm. What about from the Florida State perspective? Pleased with the way you've handled this Duke pressure and this Duke attack so far in the first half?
No, too many chances. Absolutely not. But you're winning. You have to love that when a team isn't clicking like the way you know they can, and you're winning, that's a really good team.
Florida State another sub here. Maggie Tatiano will check in. Tatiano, the Carlsbad, California native.
She comes from a soccer-playing family. Both parents played for Santa Barbara. What if she had said she wanted to play golf? How do you think that would have gone over in the house?
Probably okay, I would imagine. Under 8 to go. Florida State, boy, looking for that big, elusive second goal.
I think the Seminoles still trying to figure out exactly how Duke is handling their defense, because you saw a moment of hesitation. Florida State's really keeping the width on against the left side of Duke's defense.
This back to Roque, who will settle things. Florida State has 5 shots on goal already in this first half, each side with a corner kick opportunity. This way to the rookie Goldthwaite. Rader had a touch. And now sent on, trying to get it to her teammate, and Shonacheva making the run, but it's an easy play for Roque to come up and field.
Gilchrist very happy to shepherd that ball to Roque. Gilchrist has been solid.
He's faced 1 shot on goal, 7 total shots for Duke thus far. Now Roque again surveys the chess pieces. And Florida State looking to build the attack. In the middle. A nice move. Pace, who nearly had a goal earlier, but was robbed by Freeman. Unable to play it ahead. And a bit of a misfire there for Duke, trying to get it to Rader in space. And if Duke could have connected that, could have been a very dangerous ball against this Florida State defense. Buff trying to win it back. A hard play there. And a foul against the Seminoles.
I think unlucky for Florida State. They're going to say we got there first. We got the ball first. Huff, not sure about that. Did come from a bit behind, but I'm okay with it. I get it. And if I'm Florida State, I'm probably not happy about it, but I get it.
Would you have liked to just have seen a play on there and no foul call? Or do you feel like that was the right call?
I think it depends on who you're cheering for. As a neutral,
certainly.
As a neutral, I'm probably making that call, 100% honest. She comes from behind. I think the punishment was probably getting fallen on.
Sure.
Maybe play on, and that was your punishment?
Now Watkins looking for an angle. Watkins into the box. It was pushed away. Now that one chipped, and another play for Roque. Shonacheva was making a bit of a push there for Duke on that near post, but unable to get there as Roque gobbled it up. Down to the final 4.5 minutes of this opening 45.
Duke getting into some dangerous areas, but it's lacking that clinical nature, that last pass, that clinical finish when they do get into that dangerous spot. That was a quality close.
And that's where the Blue Devils, to your point, really looking for that second goal scorer, somebody else that could close out. Now trying to get the equalizer here in for Rader. It's loose in front. Rader has it on her boot and sends it high again. Another missed opportunity for the Blue Devils.
It's never an easy shot for Rader from that spot because she's got to lift it. But it's a fantastic 1-2 just to get into the space. It's put into a really dangerous area. You want to put that right across the 6. Oh, and a slip. You've got to do a bit better.
That's twice this half that Rader has had one that she wishes she could have back. And a couple right there in front of the goal. The Blue Devils have been unable to finish. Shows you how slim the margin is.
For Duke, you don't change anything. You know, you're getting into dangerous spots. You're doing dangerous things against a really good Florida State team. You just gotta have that finish. You've got to have that ability to get on target. Make Roque make a save.
Roque has only faced 1 shot on goal thus far today, although Duke has had several opportunities. Florida State wins the possession. What feels like a crucial last 2+ minutes of this first half.
It does. Florida State's gotten into a couple of dangerous areas, but by and large, I think Duke will be pleased with the run of play of the first half, which sounds crazy, down 1-0, but if you're Duke, you've got to feel good, and if you're Florida State, you're like, okay, maybe we need to change some things. Or just play the second half like we usually play the second half, which is, I guess, where you decrease the difficulty.
Yeah, I guess.
You just start scoring goals really easy. And
Florida State scored 3 goals in the final 12 minutes to beat 18th-ranked Pittsburgh the other night at home. Now the final 2 minutes. Duke has done a lot of their damage in terms of scoring goals recently in the second half as well. So we'll see if one of these teams can pull away. Duke, of course, looking for the equalizer in the final 99 seconds.
It's been a fun first half for two second-half teams.
It really has. Two teams that have played very good defense really all year. Duke's now allowed 16 goals with the one Florida State has scored this half, but Robbie Church did talk about how he thought his team has played pretty good defense this year, especially when you consider all the injuries and all the players that are maybe playing a little out of position for this Duke team right now.
Yeah, it's tough to play those intricate 1-2 passes when you don't have that consistency, when you don't have that continuity.
Final minute. Ball in, and Freeman watches that one go wide. Florida State, though, will have a corner in the final 45 seconds of the half.
And this will be the last action if they want it to be. I mean, judging by the speed of getting over to the corner flag, I want to guess that that's exactly what they want.
It'll be Huff who will have the honor. Huff, the transfer from Tennessee. First team All-SEC last year. Led the team with 5 goals and 7 assists. Final 18 seconds of the half. Service in. Far post. Headed away, but not all the way out. As EY there flares it in. Loose in the box. Final 8 seconds. This is Huff again. She'll blast one high, and that will truncate the opening half of play. Florida State gets the goal from Zippe, her second of the year, and that is the Seminoles who carry a 1-0 lead into the break.
Perhaps Duke will feel it's unfair to be down 1-0, but the clinicality just wasn't there for the Blue Devils for Florida State. Not your best soccer. You're going in up 1-0. You got to be happy about that.
So Florida State with the 1-0 lead at the break outscored their opponent 71-14. 71-14 over 2 years in the second half. That is an absurd number. Seminoles get the first touch of half number 2. So whatever he says at halftime is obviously working, and Florida State coming up very aggressive here, but maybe a little too aggressive as a foul there, and Duke gets it back. What do you want to see from the Duke Blue Devils here in the second half, Matt?
More of the same, getting into those dangerous positions. They haven't put their heads down. They haven't hung their heads. They've had some good chances. They haven't gone their way. But what I love about this Duke team is that they haven't let that visibly bring them down. They're still getting into those dangerous areas. They're still getting onto the front foot on the attacks. And Florida State, not their best half, but still, I mean, ruthlessly dangerous. And that's fantastic for Florida State because if they start playing like they can, my goodness.
Florida State with a little bit of an opportunity here. Duke closes down nicely, a foul against the Seminoles. Now, what about from a Florida State perspective? You said if you were Brian Penske and you were on the FSU staff, probably not thrilled with how they played in the first half. What do you think the biggest conversation was between the coaching staff and his players at the break?
I'm curious to see how they come out and how they line up in the second half because I think that they are going to make some tactical changes, and I'm curious to see what those changes are.
Brown had it for a moment, lost it. Nobody there for Florida State, but nobody quick to run to the ball either for the Blue Devils. Nesbitt plays one this way. Good ball for EY. EY had it bang off the boot of Watkins, and now Duke trying to gain possession. So far, the first nearly 2 minutes have played on the Florida State attacking into the field. Now Rader plays one through the middle. This is Lynch trying to leave one off for Menestrella. Menestrella is making her second career start today, had a couple of nice opportunities and a couple of good runs for Duke early in the match.
She did her first start against NC State, and that's a tough one because you're going against a team that played an old school 4-4-2, just 2 solid blocks of 4.
That drive batted down. Now Duke keeping it in the 18, now walking it in, and it's knocked away by Roque. But Duke, again, another great opportunity. That time it was Karina Laguerre who had the shot on goal.
Love the shot from Laguerre. Good one touch, cuts into space. And from there, you just got to put your left foot through the ball and hope it takes a deflection. Roque's positioning, perfect.
Laguerre has scored a couple of goals for Duke this year. Had a brace against Boston College earlier this season. That would have been obviously huge for Duke to find a way to get the equalizer. And after Duke was really able to weather that first couple of minutes from Florida State, they've been able to get a couple of opportunities here and now a chance to work it deeper into the attacking third.
This is interesting because...
But that was short-lived. It's the turnover quickly.
Duke confused. They thought it came off of Florida State. EY was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Watkins steps through, unable to complete possession. And look how quick the Seminoles are. It's Dudley again. Dudley had it poked away, gets it back, tries to feed one ahead. And now Duke trying to create the turnover. Rader is there. Unable to close out as EY and the Seminoles work it back to Roque.
And that was just enough, right? Wasn't it? Brewster getting a heel onto the ball, just slowing things down.
They'll try to work it through Dudley again. Oh, fancy footwork by Dudley. Runs into some traffic. And too much on that to get it to Kat Rader, who's going to try to track it down.
They've got Dudley playing on the right side on the attack, and they've got Olsen in the middle. Oh, they switched it back. There we go. I was like, this is interesting.
Nearly 5 minutes into the second half. So far, the best opportunity has been for Duke in the second 45 minutes.
It has, and they've looked good through the opening 5. I'm just pondering Dudley, as one does. Where is she's clearly effective at that sort of center forward attacker striker style role, but if you get her speed out wide, but do you take her height out of the box? I don't. There's no good answer. I guess every answer is good. I don't know.
Here's Olsen.
Get there early, Phoebe.
Plays one back for EY. Through the middle now. Nesbeth. Olsen now. Seminoles looking for that second goal, but a nice defensive play there by Duke will chaperone it away, and Florida State now an opportunity for a throw-in in their attacking third. EY will give it go. Huff turned it over. But just nobody there for Duke to connect those passes, which has kind of been the story of the last several games for Duke, just not able to find that consistency to connect those passes with so many players in and out of the lineup with injuries for Robbie Church's team.
And now Duke sunk 9 behind the ball, just trying to get it out of that area. There's really only one target forward. It's Rader.
Well, that's a pretty good target to have.
Yeah, I'm not arguing, but Rader's going to have to do a lot of hold-up play to get some options moving forward with her.
Huff. She can strike from distance. And Freeman right there.
Florida State's making more overlapping runs to start the second. Olsen cutting in on the width may have been the option.
Perhaps a bit of a mishit there. Good play in the middle by Duke to win the possession. It was a tremendous play by Lynch. And now Duke finally getting it into their attacking third. This is Katie Groff, one of the captains for this Duke team. Ball in, looking for Minestrella. She couldn't corral it, but Duke will have the throw in.
It's a good idea, and if Florida State's not paying attention or tracking back, Minestrella can put them in an awkward position. But they've done enough to earn the ability to reorganize.
As we mentioned, Minestrella played well in that first half for the Blue Devils. .50-50 ball. Minestrella trying to win it. And Duke now near the midfield area, just trying to get something going. And look how quickly Florida State can get it the other way. Dudley. And a save by Freeman. Freeman playing strong again today for Duke.
Just patience. You're going to want to come off the line, play your cards too early. But Freeman shows absurd patience, just almost a Zen-like ability to accept the situation and pounces at the right time.
And some frustration for Florida State now. Let's go back and take a look at just that last opportunity here for Florida State and Dudley.
And Dudley turns it up, and then, I mean, only good things can happen for Florida State when she's on the ball and attacking forward.
But another great play by Freeman. And we are going to get a review here. See if we can listen in to the conversation.
The player pulled her hair on the breakaway, so I'm going to look. Stay down here for me, please. Just make sure they listen.
Alyssa Nichols is our referee today.
We're both in the same place.
Here we go.
Relax, guys.
And we're being told by our terrific producer, Caleb Waters, looking for perhaps a hair pull on the breakaway there. We saw some frustration that Florida State had exhibited, and the Seminoles didn't get maybe a couple of those foul calls they thought that they should have gotten early in this half. And this is obviously a pretty big review here. And whatever the decision is, we have reached a conclusion.
Here we go. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Set up, let's go.
It doesn't look like any further action's being taken.
It is not. And the referee chatting with Cameron Roller there. It was Dudley who thought she had her hair tugged a bit on the waltz into the box.
I would do absolutely anything I could to not fire her up anymore.
Doesn't need a lot of extra motivation.
I would make a Dunkin' run for her. Just bring her a coffee. Hey, you need anything else?
Certainly a dangerous player, has the assist on the Florida State goal. Coach Penske says that she plays with relentless pressure, and that has certainly been the case again today. Scored goals against North Carolina and Miami earlier this year as well in back-to-back games. Now chipped in, headed, and in! The Seminoles with a 2-0 lead. Echegini is there and puts it home. A back-breaking goal for the top-ranked Seminoles.
And just a free header at the back post. Brilliant service. Nearly pinpoint perfect. EY's gotten farther forward this time. Nice pass out wide. Huff. Oh, it's just perfect, isn't it? Going away from the goal, Echegini just cushioning in. What a goal.
Makes it 2-0 Florida State. And for Echegini, how about her team-leading 10th goal of the season?
Well, you know what that means. It means that you've got another one coming from Jordan Dudley. Seems to be the MO that when one scores, the other one's not far behind. And I think Dudley would have been full value to score. She was in on goal. And I'm still on about it because it's a big deal. You don't get a lot of attackers. Attackers get goals, right? What Dudley did was for the betterment of the team. And I love it.
So Florida State now with the big 2-0 lead. FSU with a goal in 25 consecutive games. Dudley nearly got one there. Dudley is down. She is certainly injured. It seems to be shaken up. A great play by Duke to get it out of harm's way. And for Florida State, the question is, how is Jordan Dudley? A brave play by Duke to keep it at a 2-0 Florida State lead, but Dudley continues to be down behind the play.
Was that Cam Roller with the goal line clearance?
I believe it was, yes.
Oh, my goodness. It's fearless keeping from Freeman, but everyone's got their breath held. He's one of the most exciting players in the ACC that the ACC has seen in a long time.
We'll take another look. A lot to unpack from this play. A great ball for Dudley, who gets tangled up there with Freeman. And obviously Dudley took the brunt of it there. Then a tremendous play by Roller to keep it at a 2-0 FSU lead. Take another look now just here at Dudley, and maybe a knee to an ankle there. And certainly hope that it is nothing serious. Just unfortunate there all the way around. Nothing malicious, obviously, Matt. Just one of those hard plays and the run of competition.
If you're Freeman, that's your job. Your job is to go out there, smother the angles, cut them down as much as you can, get as big as you can. If she doesn't get a hand on the ball, yeah, I mean, I think you point at the spot. But she did. She made a play on the ball. She played the ball. And I am sitting here with my breath held, hoping Dudley is okay.
And obviously that's a big loss for Florida State, not just for the remainder of this game, but as we eye the postseason, of course, just one more game remaining for all teams in the regular season. But she is certainly a key part to what this Seminole team has been all season long, and obviously has been a key to Florida State's success in this match in particular.
She's one of, I can think of maybe one or two others that players that I've seen as freshmen. I've been watching soccer from a analytic standpoint for 15 plus years, and she's maybe in the class with 2 or 3 other freshmen in the last nearly 2 decades. Her skill level is crazy high.
We mentioned it in the first half. Robbie Church, the Duke head coach, spoke glowingly about Jordan Dudley, compared it to Michelle Cooper. We know how tremendous Michelle Cooper was during her collegiate time at Duke, and Dudley right up there with Michelle Cooper. And they're certainly taking a long look, and understandably so, with Jordan Dudley. You see Coach Brian Penske there checking on his very talented freshman.
Training staff doing their work. We're fingers crossed that they've got some magic in that bag. For Duke, maybe a good time to regroup. It feels like things were starting to get a little bit away, gotten way too open. EY was making some fantastic runs. Duke was being more attacking, or excuse me, Florida State was being more attacking and starting to pin Duke back.
But an encouraging sign here, Dudley is sitting up.
Mm-hmm.
And you hope we'll be able to get to her feet and walk it off here. And certainly a nice hand as Dudley goes out, and this is certainly a Duke team that knows about injuries, with so many players having missed time this year due to injury. You see Emily Royson, who is unable to play for the Blue Devils, still battling the injury. Blue Devils have several players that are not able to go today, including 3 seniors not able to play on their senior day. And you see Dudley being escorted to the dressing room there for Florida State. Seminoles will get Alagoa back in. And you certainly hope it is nothing serious for Dudley, and she'll be able to go in Florida State's journey to another national championship that begins in a couple of weeks. 2-0 lead for the Seminoles. Florida State led this game 1-0 at the break, and then Achigini with the header in the 57th minute to give FSU this 2-0 advantage. And now really for Duke, Matt, the whole strategy changes a bit, doesn't it? Down 2 goals and really needing to press forward to try and get as many goals as you can in a short amount of time.
It really does. I think if you could replay the first half, you had enough chances to maybe get those 2. This doesn't look like the same Florida State team. They're moving forward with purpose, with fantastic runs. They've got players ahead of them. They're being creative on the ball. It's a different Florida State team than you saw in the first half. I think what Duke did tactically surprised them a little bit. I think they've made the adjustment.
There's Brian Penske, 29-3-4 in his second year at Florida State. that point in the game now for Duke where you really have to think about trying to go as forward as quick as you can, but certainly Florida State not making it any easier.
No, and there's going to be more space, more gaps, and this is the Florida State team that thrives on space and gaps. Their ability on the ball, their technicality is spectacular, and you'll see players like Olsen who exist in space come in and do amazing things, and you're going to see there's Olsen right now.
Got past Katie Groff. Olsen into the box, plays one through the middle. A slither of daylight. Echegini couldn't finish it there for FSU. She was looking for the brace, and then a hard foul against Florida State. Roller is a bit shaken up. Echegini will show some good sportsmanship there. Maggie Graham also trying to stretch out what appears to be a cramp. Take another look.
That touch right there, uncharacteristic from Echegini, just with the little studs on the top of the foot. It's unpleasant, but it passes.
Certainly nothing malicious there. And you saw the nice sportsmanship by Echegini going over.
It's certainly not worth a card, although if you were in Portugal, perhaps you get a white card for it, the new fair play card, where you get immediate recognition for an act of sportsmanship. I kind of like it.
So many weapons that Florida State has, and certainly hope that Dudley is okay and can come back and be a big key to what Florida State wants to do moving forward from a postseason standpoint. But we talked about it earlier. Pretty nice when you can bring a World Cup veteran off your bench, and Florida State certainly has depth. And while very unpleasant to absorb injuries, a team that is built for another deep postseason run.
It is, and you hope it's with Dudley, because her brand of the beautiful game is truly beautiful.
Duke pressing forward a bit there. Maggie Graham unable to corral it. And if you're Florida State, you're probably just content to play it back and let the clock wind on down.
Absolutely, and you wouldn't mind stretching out this Duke defense, make them press you. This is a team that can play through pressure really well. Teams that press well, teams I think of like Notre Dame presses pretty well. They handled Notre Dame, and it wasn't an extreme problem for them. They're very comfortable playing through that pressure and existing in that pressure.
Remember, a win by Florida State today would clinch at least a share of the ACC championship. Now, they could win the ACC title outright today with a win and a Clemson loss to Pittsburgh. Played ahead, Echegini. 1v1 here. Echegini, goal from distance. A brace for Echegini and a 3-0 lead for the Seminoles.
Just what a blast. Right-footed, a scorcher, top shelf.
Unbelievable finish for Echegini.
It's a beautiful pass, and Huff as well. She should get that assist. Oh, absolutely brutal strike from Echegini. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. John Keats said that, and I think he wrote it about that shot.
Just nothing that Freeman could do there. A phenomenal finish. Sophia Wynn back in for the Seminoles. And the proverbial wind has been taken out of the Duke sails here with still 31 minutes remaining in this second half. The top-ranked team in the country showing why today. This is the 43rd week in school history that Florida State has been ranked as the top team in the country. All-time FSU 47-9-5 as number one in the nation. Now Watkins sends one through. Nobody able to make the run there. Menestrella was the closest Blue Devil, trying to get there but could not.
That was a good ball. It was a smart ball into an area that's dangerous, but it was essentially on the break, and Duke hadn't had time to kind of fill that void at the back post.
Florida State has certainly been very good defensively all season long. Seminoles have only allowed 12 goals all year. Duke's had some opportunities. We've talked about that a lot, especially in the first half. The chances Duke had to really turn this game around, but give a lot of credit to Florida State for not giving the Blue Devils as many chances here in the second half.
And what Florida State does just about better than anyone is when they strike it, it's on goal. Nearly half of all their shots are on goal this season.
Played this way. Chipped in. Freeman with a dangerous play. Freeman appears to be okay. Making the run at it there for Florida State was Olsen.
Most wicked way to get the ball out wide. I'm a big fan of the decoy, the dummy, if you will. And it gave plenty of space for that cross to come in. Olsen, nearly spectacular finish if she can get her footwork sorted just a touch.
Olsen, who has international experience playing for the Sweden national team, the Swedish U18, U17, and U19 national teams. Who knows? She could be another World Cup player for Sweden.
Sweden has players the quality of Olsen.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time.
Indeed. Sub here is Pace back in for the Seminoles. Pace, the first-year graduate transfer from Pittsburgh, and Echegini will get a much-deserved hand as she returns to the Florida State bench area. Has the brace and most likely her afternoon done with Florida State leading by 3 goals.
Coach Penske said about her that she has a lot of good thoughts, that she's really a tactician while she's out there and a fantastic leader in the pitch.
I thought it was interesting when he said that Echegini, who was transferred from Mississippi State where she began her career, said that she didn't know if she could play at this level, play at Florida State. Obviously, she has proven that she can. She scored just a ton of goals, now 22 goals in her Florida State career in only a year and a half as a Seminole.
If she can't play at that level, I don't know anybody that can.
Very true. Blue Devil goes down behind the play, and right now Florida State just in total control of this contest.
And it was like a lightning bolt over the past 15 minutes. The one in the first half was Dudley. You could see it was a lot of individual effort. She beat 3 defenders, and she played Zippe into a fantastic place. A dream strike for any attacker, really. The second 2 goals, if you're Duke, are a little bit more troubling because they've sort of manipulated Duke's defense, except for Echegini's blast, in which case you just take your hat off to an amazing piece of offense.
Absolutely. Saw Maggie Graham a bit shaken up there, had to walk it off, kind of gingerly, but appears to be okay. It looks like we'll see Duke go to the substitution route here in a moment. Another throw in here for the Blue Devils. Katie Groff got it in, and now a foul here will give Duke an opportunity outside of the 18.
This is a dangerous area. You're going to want a right-footed kicker to take this because they can put a little whip on the ball that's going to make Roque have some questions.
It's Rader and Lynch here over the ball.
Hey, let's go physical! Good, Leah.
Roque, a couple of saves today. And it will be Lynch who will have the service for Duke. And nobody home initially. Rader has it. That one deflected. And back out where Lynch will work it back to center. And Brewster. Good play there by Laguerre. Now Watkins. That might have been a handball there. And
It's unlucky.
no call, yeah. Appeared to be a handball. Robbie Church is upset, as you'll see him on that Duke's sideline, and I think Coach Church is asking for a review.
It's rough because what you're going to see is the hand in an unnatural position.
Yeah.
The question is it in the box? That I don't know. Also, distance comes into play. That was pretty close from where the cross happened. The officials got a lot of things to sort of go through to determine whether or not that was a handball. My initial reaction was it was. You see the arms behind the back. Now the arm up and beside the body. That's tight.
Very close.
It's tight.
Very close.
I'm okay with a no call. If I'm Duke, I hate it.
Now another service on the corner for the Blue Devils.
Ooh.
And another dangerous ball there. Unlucky that Duke had no one making the run to put it home.
That was a goal line clearance from Florida State. It was tricky in the way that it happened because there wasn't any movement towards the ball. But what happened, I got Wen, who just stood there back post, and her body deflected it off the line.
Here comes Florida State again, already leading by 3 goals. Oh, good ball. Now Huff. Huff with some space.
Oof.
Huff left-footed and in! 4-0 Florida State. Huff's 5th of the year.
Huff found an attacker's dream amount of space right at the top of the box. And was a little bit clever with the left foot, wasn't she? She just kind of pushed it near post. I think most goalkeepers are thinking she's going to wind up and power it to the far post. That was tricky from Huff.
Another look here. The 5th of the year for the Tennessee transfer. And you saw Freeman stumble a bit going the opposite direction, and an easy play for Huff to put it past the Blue Devil keeper.
Well, you'd anticipate, honestly, Huff taking another touch from that spot. But she saw the daylight and decided to take it.
And how about the glowing things that Coach Penske had to say about Taylor Huff, a player that he coached while she was at Tennessee, and said she's a pro, and she treats her body like a pro, takes care of herself that way, trains like a pro. And I thought this was the most telling, and I think anytime you hear a coach talk about a player in the term of they're a student of the game, that tells you all you need to know about a player.
A player who loves the game and loves to be about the game and just wants to see, if I do everything right, how good can I be? Those are the players that are dangerous. Top Drawer Soccer says she's the number 3 player in the country right now.
This is the first time Duke has given up 4 goals in a game since they lost 4-0 to Stanford in early September. And you look at the 4 goals Duke's given up, 3 of them, of course, this half. It doesn't tell the story of how competitive this match has been really overall. A couple of unlucky breaks for Duke on the last couple of goals, and Florida State, to their credit, has taken advantage of the opportunities they've got.
And you saw Freeman make some amazing saves in the first half. The scoreline very, very possibly could have gotten silly, but Freeman made some very key saves. Duke unlucky not to finish their chances in the second half. It's just been Florida State's hit another level, and they're getting ahead. You're seeing players like Eway get ahead. You're seeing players really push that back line. Overlapping runs. The runs have been better from Florida State in the second half.
And Freeman again able to make the play there. And Duke wants to go quickly here, but Freeman might have put a little bit too much on that one. Cat Rader couldn't get there. Turned over. And for Florida State, leading now by a quartet. Just a chance to slow it down and figure out a way to milk this clock on down. Seminoles scored 5 goals against the Blue Devils last year. Beat Duke 5-1. Grace Watkins was the only goal scorer for Duke in that matchup in Tallahassee a year ago.
This Florida State team is very good, aren't they?
And of course, the big question mark now for Florida State is this match appears to be in the win column for the Seminoles. Don't want to take anything for granted. Still 22 minutes left, but I think the big concern, the big question mark for Florida State is the health of Jordan Dudley now moving forward after she went down with an apparent lower body injury earlier this half.
It's literally all I can think about right now. Just not only because of the player she is on the pitch, but from what Coach says.
Grace Watkins for Duke. Watkins couldn't get there. Another nice play by Roque. Sorry, Matt.
No. When soccer happens, we should talk about that. I'm with you. But the person she is off the pitch, and we had Coach Penske speaking glowingly of her, and the player on the pitch he loves, but I think the person she is off the pitch, he's equally as supportive of. I feel like dangerous moments from Florida State, maybe maybe a bit careless up for.
Indeed. But perhaps you could take a few more chances with that 4-goal lead.
Not there. No, thanks. I'll take chances on the attacking end up for, but I like it when Roque wants to play with her feet, but a bit casual for me.
Katie Groff. This way for Grace Watkins, who's had a couple of half chances for the Blue Devils this afternoon. And it's kind of a microcosm of the game there for the Blue Devils on that ball that Duke couldn't quite connect to Raider.
And in no hurry to scoop it up. It's been 25 seconds.
Clock certainly the ally of Florida State here. Seminoles led this 1-0 at the break. Ample chances for Duke in the first 45 minutes, and that's where the Blue Devils are going to feel like they've let a few get away. Some subs now. Taylor Evans, a sophomore, will come in as we go back and take a look at Florida State's 4 goals today. The Seminoles got things going in the first half. A brilliant play here by Jordan Dudley as she finds Caitlin Zippe for the only goal of the first half, making it 1-0 Florida State. Then Echegini with the header to make it 2-0 Seminoles. And how about Echegini again from distance? What a blast from outside of the 18. She has the brace, and then a moment ago, it's his fancy footwork by Huff. Left-footed, sneaks it inside the post for the 4-0 Seminole advantage.
Rewatching that shot, it was almost, you know how on a penalty you're trying to wrong foot the keeper, right? And it's all on that plant foot. If you get a chance to go back and watch that highlight again, look at Huff's plant foot. Everything about that says far post curler, and somehow snaps across the outside of the ball and pushes it near post. That is a strong player right there.
Brilliant for sure. And now with inside of 19 minutes almost remaining in this one, we've seen the Blue Devils go into their bench. Robbie Church trying to get some quality minutes for some of his other players, some of his youngsters perhaps.
You want to keep those legs fresh because you got to get 3 points out of the last match of the season. You got to do that at Louisville.
Not hyperbole to say this at all, but the match at Louisville, the season finale for Duke, is a must-win now.
Yeah, I wouldn't, and I don't like playing against Louisville in Louisville if I'm any team. That's not a fun time. Louisville's a very good team. They have a great home field advantage. Their crowds there are very good. Nothing about that seems like a fun journey for Duke.
It is certainly, at worst, a cannot lose for Duke to have any shot at the ACC and the NCAA tournament. That'll be at 6 Eastern on Thursday. Remember, and Robbie Church has talked a lot about this, Duke has to finish with a record of 500 to have a chance to qualify for the NCAA. With a loss today, Duke would drop to 6-6-2 overall. And now another one for Florida State, just barely missing for the Seminoles.
Flag stayed down. I thought for sure Florida State was going to find themselves in an offside position, but
the goal and nearly got it to go. Nice ball here by Huff as well. A deflection off a Blue Devil there too. Couple of subs in for Duke. Grace Watkins and Devin Lynch will come out. Watkins perhaps leaving the pitch at Koskinen Stadium for the final time in her tremendous Duke career. And Coach Church now just trying to save legs for that game at Louisville on Thursday. And Robbie Church talked to us about it, Matt. You know, there are maybe teams that miss the postseason and for a wide variety of reasons, sure. Right? But Robbie Church spoke glowingly about the work ethic and the leadership of this group and says this is not a team that deserves not to go into the postseason.
Agreed, and I think you can tell by the way a team looks, right? You can tell sort of by the attitude of a team. He has more time on the training pitch with them than I do. So I'll take his word for their training tactics. Coaches don't lie about that, though. If they're not a team that trains with a positive attitude, most coaches will tell you that. And he's glowing about the effort level of this team.
And trying to cultivate some depth on display here today right in front of our eyes. Sam Bodensteiner, a rookie, making her first career appearance for the Blue Devils. And what a way to make your debut against the #1 team in the country.
Jeneba Endow's a Senegalese player who is fun to watch in attack. You're going to see her go from the back line all the way up to the front line. An excellent player.
Florida State, certainly a great second half. We talked about how good the Seminoles were in the second half, and right on cue, a Florida State team that coming into play today had outscored their opponents 30-4 in the second half. You can add three more goals to that ledger now, and now a 74-14 advantage under Brian Penske over the last 2 years, outscoring their foes in half number 2.
And it's been a tactical adjustment. It's been an attitude adjustment. Dudley gave Florida State their best chance. Florida State had some good chances, but Freeman was very good in the first half. But Florida State shooting from better positions, better angles. They were making incisive runs, really smart passes, and Enchigini just blasted one.
And Florida State, with the win today, would secure at least a share of the ACC regular season title. The Seminoles can win it outright if Clemson falls to Pittsburgh today. That's currently a 0-0 game at halftime. Of course, Florida State can control their own destiny. They beat NC State next week, and they remove any doubt of whether they are the outright champion or not.
To the eye test, I mean, they're very good, aren't they? They really are. The eye test. And when I felt like they hadn't, maybe they shouldn't be happy with that first half, is because I wanted to see the second half from them. This is what they're capable of.
And again, a lot of concern for the status and the health of Jordan Dudley, who went out earlier this half. That went off of the body of Groff and will result in a corner kick for Florida State. We talked about this a little bit. Now this is updated through today. They've been nip and tuck with opponents in the first half, but whatever Coach Penske says at the break has been working for the Seminoles over the last couple of years.
I mean, that's a number that's beyond believable. It's
almost incomprehensible.
So yeah, but it's like they flip a switch. I'm partially want to know what he says, and partially I'm scared because it might motivate me to do some crazy things.
Norris, who just came in for Florida State, had the ball there for a moment. And we get down to the final 13 minutes here at Koskinen Stadium on this brilliant Sunday afternoon. Just a perfect day for the beautiful game.
Florida State just about plays it how it should be. Just creative, strong, fast, technical. The passing has been incisive.
You asked Coach Penske in the conversation leading up to this match what the identity of his team is. Not sure that he gave you an answer. I think he wants the identity of his team to be whatever they can do to win. But after watching this Florida State team today, I'm curious your thoughts on what the identity of this FSU team might be.
So I always try to figure out whether a team's offensive-minded, defensive-minded, where they start. Florida State starts from the mindset of winning. What do we have to do to win? Everything is built around winning.
Deflected, and Freeman picks it up.
And they do just that, don't they?
Whatever they have to do, certainly. Around the ACC today, North Carolina, how about this? A 5-1 lead on Syracuse. And look at the shots, a 38-3 advantage for North Carolina. They must have seen the score here in Durham and said, oh, we've got a best Florida State, as the third-ranked Tar Heels are putting on a offensive clinic at over at Chapel Hill today at Dorrance Field.
If you're a Syracuse fan, you got to say, hey, 33% of our shots going in. That's all right.
Problem is, you're giving up a few more than you're getting.
It's still cold in Syracuse. Even if you're on the trip to Chapel Hill, it's fantastic weather.
But what a fun stretch run it's going to be as we get toward the postseason, the ACC tournament, and then, of course, the push for the College Cup as well. Florida State certainly has aspirations of spending a lot of time in the Triangle during the postseason.
As well they should. As well they should. This is a fantastic team. And there's always a good time to be a fan of the beautiful game and the ACC. And as an impartial observer, this season has been fantastic for women's soccer in the ACC. If you have a favorite team, that's great. If you don't and you're just an ACC fan, well, it's been a fantastic year for you.
As it usually is year in and year out, and let's look bigger picture to it and think about how much better. Now that the ACC is, I don't think any argument here, the best women's soccer conference in the country.
Not particularly close.
And going to get even stronger with the addition of Stanford to the league next year.
Yeah, that'll make for a couple of trips, won't it?
Kira Clemens, by the way, making her first career action today. The rookie out of Raleigh, playing at Crossroads Flex for her preparatory career.
When I was in high school, I didn't super love playing against Spartanburg or Greenville because we had to go all the way off the mountain. It was an hour and 15 in a bus, and it was miserable, and I didn't want to do it. So the thought of cross-country to Stanford makes me feel nervous, but
it goes the other way. Stanford coming cross-country to play as well. Also the addition of Cal, and another great, and SMU as well, some great institutions joining the ACC. But Stanford and SMU certainly great RPI clubs this year and year out, and that will make the league even more dangerous as we look ahead toward next year. But looking at the present, it's been a dominant afternoon for Florida State, leading by just a goal at the break. The Seminoles have pulled away and now lead 4-0. The brace by Ekagini. Of course, the only thing that perhaps has gone wrong for FSU today is concerns on the health of Jordan Dudley, who went out earlier this half.
I've got my fingers crossed, my toes crossed, everything crossed, that it's a stinger, that everything is okay, structurally sound, and that she's able to continue with this season because that's what she deserves. She's put in the work, she's put in the effort. Her growth is exponential on the pitch. Coach Penske, effusive praise for her off the pitch. By all accounts, a really good person, and we're hopeful that she'll be back shortly. When adding a team like Stanford, a school like Stanford, that really boosts all of the what they call the Olympic sports, because they're so good at a lot of things. And if you're a conference that says, hey, come play with us, we have the best, that's such a great ad.
Look at that there. Stanford 3 NCAA championships, 31 NCAA tournament appearances. Cal, nearly 30. SMU has been phenomenal as well. Just continues to be another banner year for those programs, and will make the roster of the ACC even deeper this time next year.
It's a basketball conference, but hasn't it always been a women's soccer conference?
Indeed. It's a conference for a lot of sports. Final 8 minutes here from Koskinen Stadium, and what is another impressive performance from Florida State. Very few weaknesses in this Seminole club.
Yeah, in the first half, they looked a little bit susceptible, but man, they've looked unbeatable in the second half, haven't they?
Into the far corner. And it'll stay on the Florida State end. From a Duke perspective, what do you take away from this match if you're Robbie Church and his staff as they get ready for that must-not-lose game at Louisville next week?
You kept a fantastic offense off the score sheet. You with one goal for the opening 55 minutes, and before it really went wrong, there was some fantastic soccer played by Duke, and really was on the front foot for the majority of the first half. I'd say that first half belonged to Duke, even though it was 1-0 Florida State. And I think if you're looking at the plus sides, that's a fantastic plus side. You hung with an undefeated team that's only had one tie, and you looked the better side for the better part of 45 minutes.
And I think you also saw how slim the margins are in this game and in this league. A couple of opportunities the Blue Devils just barely missed on that, as you point out, would have changed the complexion of this match entirely.
And it is a game of fine margins. It really is. I mean, on such a large and wide pitch where there is so much space, sometimes it doesn't feel that way, but objectively it is. It comes down to the finest of margins, and today, and luck. Finest margins and luck. Although I would argue Florida State has done more than make their own luck. They've earned this victory, and they've earned it convincingly.
And again, a win by the Seminoles today would share at least have a share of the ACC regular season title, barring what happens with Clemson and Pittsburgh today. Seminoles would win the title outright with a Pittsburgh win. They would also win the title outright with a victory against NC State in Tallahassee on Thursday. And should also point out, Florida State will end the match today with an undefeated road record, which is impressive. Florida State will finish the regular season 7-0-1 on the road, which is the first time since 2014 they have finished perfect on the road, which is, going into some of the environments in the ACC, a very impressive feat.
They went into Chapel Hill. That was the only tie of their entire year.
And remember, they were trailing for a large swath of the game until they got that great equalizing goal very late in the second half.
And it didn't look like it was going to happen. And then, I mean, it's this year's Florida State team, they're so good. And it's not luck, because they've done the right things to earn it. Every result that they've gotten has been deserved. I would argue that was probably the most even I've seen a team play them for a full 90 minutes was against Chapel Hill. But it was a fantastic game, and Florida State showed their mettle. That's the first time that they've really, 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 really had to answer some questions within themselves.
And I think most people tend to believe that Florida State and North Carolina will collide at least one more time this season.
We, the soccer public, nearly demand it. It'd be a shame if it didn't happen.
Could happen again a couple more times, as a matter of fact.
I would like that.
Maybe a couple times in Cary. We'll see how things go. Of course, everyone jockeying for position for this ACC tournament, ACC championship, which will be played ultimately in Cary, the semifinals and the championship match, and then, of course, the College Cup as well. Final 3.5 minutes from Koskinen Stadium, and what's been a dominant performance by FSU. Seminoles were looking for that fifth goal, but a nice job to usher it away by the Blue Devils.
Oh, that's a fantastic pass.
Nadal with it. Now for Clemens. Clemens drives one, and another nice save by Roque. Take another look at this tremendous ball. Good play here by the Blue Devils.
Is bending into the path. This is not an easy skill. Gets away a little bit. outside right foot to bend it into the run. Oh, that's a tricky bit of skill, isn't it?
And shows you how talented these Blue Devils are for the future as well.
That was just a touch of class. I'm thinking about it again, and I really hope Dudley's up.
Indeed.
I never want to put too much pressure on a player, but I think a lot of her.
Yeah. And I think all of Florida State hoping that she is okay and can be back with the Seminoles for their push to the postseason. And barring a goal given up here in the last 2 minutes, it'll be the 7th clean sheet of the year for Roque, who has been brilliant as the goalkeeper for Florida State again today and this season, the ACC goalkeeper of the year a season ago, as we tick down to the final 105 seconds from Koskinen Stadium.
A couple of tricky saves for her today, and maybe a bit let off the hook a couple of times. Her defense in the first half, I think maybe could have put on a better showing for her, but the second half they've been just flawless.
Final 70 seconds this afternoon as Florida State will finish the regular season perfect on the road. Just one more task ahead of the Seminoles, and that's at home against North Carolina State to close the regular season next week. Meanwhile, for Duke, the Blue Devils have to get a point coming up on Thursday to have any shot at the NCAA tournament. The Blue Devils will need a win or a draw at Louisville to keep their season alive.
Tough order. This squad can do it. But if that's again, like I said, Louisville, tough place to play. Do they even have a Bojangles in Louisville? I don't know.
Final 25 seconds here. And Florida State can just eat the clock here with 10 seconds remaining now.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
3 to go, and the Seminoles remain perfect in the regular season with a 4-0 road win over the Duke Blue Devils. Big win for Florida State as they clinch at least a share of the ACC regular season title, Matt, the third time in the last 4 years